Family dinners at my parents' house follow a script. My mother overcooks the chicken. My father asks about work in a tone that suggests comparison. My brother arrives slightly late, as if his presence is an event. I go because not going would become its own accusation. That night, nothing felt unusual at first. We were halfway through dinner when my mother asked me, seeing anyone yet? It wasn't curiosity. It was inventory. Not right now, I said. My brother leaned back in his chair, smirking in that effortless way he's practiced since high school. Still single, huh? Must be lonely being a failure. My parents chuckled. Not loudly, just enough. That sound was the part that stayed with me. Failure. The word floated there, light and casual, like he'd commented on the weather. I felt the familiar urge to deflect. Make a joke. Shrug. Keep the evening smooth. For 3 years, I'd been keeping things smooth. 3 years of automatic transfers on the first of every month. 3 years of, don't tell mom and dad, I just need a little time. 3 years of him, jetting back on his feet. I'd told myself it was temporary. That helping family wasn't something to tally. But sitting there, listening to him label me a failure in the house where he still did laundry on Sundays, something shifted. I didn't feel angry, I felt tired. So I smiled, not tightly, not dramatically, just enough to interrupt the rhythm of the table. Funny, I said, picking up my water glass. Coming from a guy whose rent I've paid for 3 years. The air changed immediately. My brother's smirk didn't drop all at once. It hesitated, like it wasn't sure whether this was part of the joke. My mother frowned. What? I kept my tone even. I've been covering his apartment since 2023. It was supposed to be a few months. My father looked at my brother. Is that true? My brother laughed, but it was thinner now. It's not like that. It was just a loan. $306,000 in loans. I said gently. That's what it adds up to. Silence. I hadn't planned to mention numbers. But once they were out, they anchored the room. My mother stared at him as if she were recalculating her understanding of her own son. Why didn't you tell us? He looked at me instead. Why are you making this a thing? I finally set my glass down. I wasn't, I said. You were. The humiliation he'd intended for me was still hovering, but now it had nowhere to land. It circled back. He shifted in his seat. I was joking, I said. So am I. Another silence. He didn't laugh. Then I added, almost as an afterthought. By the way, I canceled the transfer this morning. The lease renewal's in 2 weeks, right? That wasn't a threat. It was information. He blinked. You what? I sent you the confirmation email. And copied the landlord. There it was, the authority in the room. Not a raised voice. Not my parents stepping in. Paperwork, deadlines. A third party who didn't care about family dynamics. My father straightened. You've been paying his rent this whole time. Wes? Why? I considered that, because he asked. Because you would have blamed me if I didn't. Because I didn't want him to struggle. Instead, I said. Because he said he needed help. My mother's attention had shifted completely. The earlier laughter felt misplaced now, like something said at the wrong funeral. My brother's confidence drained in increments. You can't just stop. I'm in between contracts. You said that last year, I replied. He looked at our parents for reinforcement. They didn't give it. For the first time in a long time, he didn't have the higher ground at this table. I didn't gloat. I didn't raise my voice. I just let the facts sit there. Dinner resumed awkwardly, forks against plates. No one brought up my relationship status again. When I stood to leave, my mother followed me to the door. Why didn't you tell us? She asked quietly. I held her gaze. Because every time I tried to talk about pressure or burnout, it became a comparison. She didn't argue. Outside, the air felt cool and uncomplicated. In my car, I checked my phone. A message from my brother. You blindsided me. I typed back, then deleted it. Blindsided would have been stopping the payments without warning. Blindsided would have been exposing him publicly without provocation. He'd chosen the stage. I'd just turned on the lights. Driving home, I expected to feel triumphant. I didn't. I felt lighter, and slightly guilty, and strangely calm. For years, I thought keeping quiet made me the bigger person. That absorbing the joke, covering the cost, maintaining the illusion of his independence was kindness. But silence had been expensive. Not just financially. At the next family dinner, 2 weeks later, no one mentioned my dating life. My brother was quieter. My parents asked him practical questions, about work, about rent, in a tone I recognized from years directed at me. The hierarchy hadn't exploded, it had adjusted. No applause. No apology. Just a new understanding I was no longer the easiest target. And for now, that was enough.